Please welcome to the show my man, Dennis Prager. Dennis, how are you?
I am your man.
Absolutely, you are. Dennis, I bet you rarely get an introduction like that. My man, Dennis Prager.
That is correct. In 40 years, I have not received such an introduction.
Well, there it is. Dennis, you wrote a very interesting piece on, I think you said, the three reasons why women do not like Donald Trump. Now, we've long talked about a so called gender gap, but usually it pretty much goes away when you edit out women of color. But there is a real gender gap this time. It's because of the dislike on the part of so many women toward Donald Trump. Talk to us about the reasons you believe that so many women dislike this man.
I think they dislike this man, but I don't believe that any Republican at this point, any conservative, would get many more women's votes than Donald Trump will get. The 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 Democratic Party and the left generally is the feminine of the human condition. Conservatives are the masculine of the human condition. This is not said as an insult or praise, and I'll define it. It's not just a claim that I'll make. The feminine is the compassion side, and the conservative is the standards side. Conservatives want to maintain standards, and people, as you move to the left, they want to drop standards because it's mean. Standards are mean, for at least in many minds, the feminine mind, if you will. Though I'm married to a woman and she doesn't relate to this at all, but she would agree with me that this is the more feminine. And what does that mean? I'll go further. Nurture. So what people do, men who with a feminine mindset and women, they think that the government should nurture its population, should take care of its population, and this sounds noble to people, but it's not noble. And I have a really good analogy. There is no one living who doesn't fear when they get old that they will have to be taken care of. The human dignity depends upon taking care of yourself. Why isn't that applicable to the state? When California gives breakfast and lunch to all its students, what it's saying is, we feed you, we will feed you, we the state will feed you, your parents don't have to. So as the state gets bigger and nurtures, quote unquote, more, individual responsibility subsides. So I don't have to take care of my kids, the state will. And that's the whole daycare issue. Why would I have to take care of my kids? Why isn't the government taking care of my kids? So I don't think Donald Trump is the primary reason for the feminine vote.
Dennis, what is your opinion of Kamala Harris?
I can say the word nothing in many languages. She is a nothing. But even that I could live with. Joe Biden, I believe, is a nothing as well. But she believes in nothing. She believes in advancing. That's it. Her life has been devoted to advancing her career. She doesn't stand for anything. That is why she can't answer any questions. That's why she will say anything to get elected. Well, I was against fracking and now I'm for fracking. And it will be. I was for defunding the police, but now I'm not for defunding the police. But of course, all she will do is mimic the left-wing view of everything. It is frightening. And the most frightening, I'd like to state what I think the most frightening aspect is, that the Democratic Party, being a left-wing, no longer a liberal party, doesn't believe in free speech. That is the end of our civilization as we know it. It is the single most important of our freedoms, and that is why it is the First Amendment, because it is the most important of all our freedoms. And so she and he, by the way, I quoted him earlier in another interview where he said just 2 years ago on MSNBC, we can't allow misinformation to be spread, which is exactly what the Soviets would say about anything that they differed with. It was misinformation. It's code word for differs with the left.
Mm-hmm.
That is to me, there are many reasons to fear the Democrats, including further debt, which will ultimately explode the economy, and exploding economies always end up in horrible violence. But the free speech issue is the one that I am most afraid of.
What happens to the Middle East, Dennis? As you know, missiles right now are raining on Israel, shot from Iran. What happens to the Middle East under a President Kamala Harris?
The same thing that happened under a President Biden. There was no attack on Israel when Donald Trump was president. There was no attack on Ukraine when Donald Trump was president. The Houthis were not shooting at American naval vessels under Donald Trump. You see, that's part of this feminization of the Democratic Party and the left. They want the president of the United States to be loved. I don't. That is on the list of what I want the world to feel about my president. That's last, and it's actually probably a bad thing. I want them to fear the American president. The fact that many countries that hate us thought he might be a nut, a madman, kept them from doing anything.
Speaking of many people thought he was a nut, one of those is J.D. Vance. He once referred to Donald Trump, Dennis, as America's Hitler, called him unfit, noxious, a total fraud, unfit to be president. Tim Walz will bring this up. How does J.D. Vance respond to that?
Well, to be perfectly honest, in 2016, he was my last choice among the 14 nominees for president of the Republican Party. And I wrote in National Review and elsewhere why I wouldn't want him to be the nominee. However, I also wrote in the same exact article, if he's nominated, of course I will vote for him, because the Democratic Party is destroying my beloved country. So a lot of us had negative views of Donald Trump before he became president. I'd like to know what year he said that, because his presidency proves. Remember, he was president. When we're told he's going to end democracy, why didn't he do it when he had 4 years to do it? We were freer under him. We were more, in every category, we were a better country, and the world was a better place to live in.
Dennis, we have 30 seconds left. Is there going to be a winner at the end of this debate?
I think that if Tim Walz recited the alphabet, the Democrats would say he won.
Right. Well, I said something similar after Kamala Harris became the nominee. I said they're going to transform her into a combination of Rosa Parks and Joan of Arc, and that's exactly what they've done. Dennis, thank you so much for taking the time. The great Dennis Prager. Dennis, God bless.